Howdy folks, this is Rass again. Alright, Goose, alright, if I can get it to function like it's supposed to. There's a lot of glitches in this game. Okay. Alright. So, here's what you got. You got two generals that stack. I don't know if all those skill books stack, and you haven't shown me that screenshot, so I'm pretty sure you're probably going to have to change up some skill books. But you got all these ground troop buffs, all of these ground troop buffs. Okay. It really doesn't make any sense for you to do a T1 flat refine meat wall right now, because you're too close to something else. So let me show you what I mean. It's development. I don't need development. Okay. Now take a minute to read that. Read everything up top in gold and in green. Ground troops HP by 15%. Ground troop HP by 20%. Ground troop HP by 15%. Ground troop defense by 30%. Okay. Now, I did Siege Machine skill books. Now look at the refines. I did 3 ground troop HP. That helmet does ground troop HP. And it does ground troop defense. It's all in-city defense. In-city ground and mounted troops defense and HP. Plus 30%, that 2-6 buff. Now the refines over here, 3 ground troop HP, 1 siege machine HP. I'm not even finished with them. That leg armor's got to be changed. But it's got siege machine attack. So I'll show you why siege machine attack is important to complement this here in a minute. But that one's 3 ground troop HP, 1 siege machine HP. Now look at where my attack is. This one buffs siege machine attack and siege machine attack range. So I just put 4 siege machine attacks on it. I don't have advanced refine opened up. I need to do that, but now, I put siege machine defense instead of ground troop defense. Probably a mistake, but I'll show you what else I've done here in a minute. Now, here's my assist. I have Leonidas too. Full specialty. You already know what he does. So, ground troops HP, 30%. So, you already know what they buff ground troops. Not really HP so much as attack. But, alright, all those ground troop buffs. Now, I did a video on how I do my blazing. So, I'm going to invite you to watch that. But, look at this. That's not 100% correct. I'm going to change it. But this one is 100% correct. And I'm going to push it all the way to 20. Takes a while to do blazing. That one is fine because the other one's perfect. So, and then over here, it's got 2 defending ground troop defense. This one here has 2 ground troop defense, but the defense on monsters, it's going to have to be changed. That has 2 defending ground troop attack. You see a pattern? I buffed the shit out of my ground troops. Now, up here, you don't have the Thebes Dragon yet. So
there isn't any mail.
Okay. Love you. Oh, I love my wife. Okay. Now you'll notice the refines I did on him, ground troop HP and 1 siege machine attack. Here's why I did 1 siege machine attack. Look at the talent. This is another siege machine attack and siege machine defense too. I try to keep these two equal. This one buffs siege attack and it buffs ground troop HP. Now let's take a look at your ground troops. Let's go to a T14. That HP and defense right off the top is higher than any other troop that you have. Ground troops, if they kill something, it's not necessarily because of their high attack power. They have the lowest attack power of anything except siege. But their defense and HP make them the hardest thing to kill. Basically, if you're not attacking ground troops with mount or with like 3,300 buff plus range attack, you're not going to kill them. Ground kills ground if ground is attacking, but ground troops are very hard to kill. So now I'm going to go over one other thing. There's more to this that you're going to have to do, but I've gone over that in other videos. I'm trying not to make these things so long that you're sitting here an hour and listening to me talk. Spiritual Beast, Jormungandr, Seal. That's attacking range troop defense. In-city mounted troop defense. Not interested in that one. Which one is the one that does what we want? Attacking siege machine HP. In-city siege machine HP. That's something. Where is the one that gives me what I want? In-city ground troop defense. You'll notice I've got that one pretty high. Like, I've run out of those stones over there on the bottom where it says 186 out of 360. I'm out of stones to do those. But it costs 20k gems to do it. That's getting it up there. Then over here, I've got another one at level 10. Which one is it? Okay. All right. In-city siege machine attack. I'm going to up that one tomorrow. It's Jim's consuming event. But Pegasus, in-city ground troop attack. I've done enough to buff these troops. And the champion that I use, that I'm really buffing right now, look what she does. In-city ground and mounted troop defense and HP. Now let's look at what that does. I love this new report that I got. K44 hitting me direct on with a range troop attack. And okay. All right. I lost this by a couple 100 million. Would have won it probably if I hadn't had my T13 mount in there, but look at the buffs. Defense and HP 15 and 1600. I know you've seen other videos on that. Look at the siege machine attack, 1500. Look at the range troop debuff, minus 1160. Okay. Look at what happens in the details. I took a minor loss in the T14 ground troop layer, but notice the T14 siege layer, I didn't take any losses. This is why you only really see me buff siege machine attack, because the only time siege gets hurt is when you get zeroed or when you get hit with siege. And I'm here to tell you that when you get zeroed or hit with siege, it ain't gonna fucking matter if my siege machine defense and HP are 2,000 plus or not, because if you look, siege has the lowest HP and defense and attack of any troop type. They just have a longer range than anything else, and they have a bigger troop load. So they gather more and they plunder more from enemies. So each troop has its particular usefulness. But look, if you don't get zeroed, siege don't get hurt. So the higher their attack is, the more shit they can kill. So let's go down T-13 ground troop. I kicked his ass. T-13 siege machine, 380,000 kills, no losses. Get that siege attack up there. That's my defensive scheme. Now look down here at the T1 meat wall. I've got 35 million ground troops, or T1 mounted troops. I really don't need those. I think the account came with them when we bought it. I don't have a T1 trap defense, and I'm taking direct hits from K44s with 3,000 buff. So you're already a K36, and you've got Leonidas and Isaac Brock. So keep talking with me about this defensive scheme, and when you get a chance to talk to DN, talk to her, because we built this type of defense. And look, Word has a better defense than I do. He's got 800 million T1s. He's got flat refined out. But I'm telling you, and I'm showing you, if you do it this way, you're closer to doing this, and it's going to save you a lot of resources, because 100 million T1 mounted troops, that's 8 billion food and 8 billion lumber. You're a K36, and you can open up Military Academy level 1. You're going to need a lot of resources to open up those research academies and get the research up as high as I've got it to really be able to do this. And so your resources are better used in Keep Level Academy and Rally Spot right now, and building up those higher tier ground and siege layers. You could score higher in barb events. You can get more gems that way, and you can do better in these pans events, killing higher level pans with your ground troops. And yeah, you're actually closer to the kind of defense that DN and I have than you are to a T1 trap. Doing a T1 trap would be retooling, refitting. It would take you longer, and you'd stay at K36 for even longer. And right now, when we're fighting these K44s with 3,300 plus buffs, that probably isn't the best idea for you. Now, in the end, and I will send you a link to the basic defensive blueprint that every successful defense on this server has watched. I've watched it, Beasley watched it, Ice watched it, Word watched it. It's the defensive blueprint for 1222. I'll give you that as a reference, but I want you to count up the amount of resources that they've spent on T1 meat walls. Okay? There are accounts on this server that could be K40s right now and have done a lot of Academy level 40 research and Military Academy 5 research, and probably have unlocked a T-15 troop by now if they hadn't spent so many resources on T1 mounted troops. And I'm not saying that's a bad idea, because they've scored high in SVS. They can take hits that even I can't take, but they're K38 and they're K37, and your march size is smaller. Your research that you can do in the academy is smaller. The war hall that you have is smaller. So It's just something you need to think about, because 100 million T1s, again, it is 8 billion food and 8 billion lumber. So if you're going to do 300 million, that is 24 billion food and 24 billion lumber that you're going to be spending for 300 million T1s. And that is enough for a K-39 keep level. 24 billion food and 24 billion lumber. So think about the level that you're fucking yourself out of. And I mean, you're not going to get a top 10 finish in a barb event without the march sizes that I've got, and without the troop types that I've got, and the gems that you spend on flat refining out a Queen Boudica, that you're talking 2 million, 3 million gems you're going to be spending. You know, you might want to do that for attack purposes. You know, my refines on my General, let's look at them. Let's look at her. Okay, we're going to view, refine. Those are all orange. I don't even have any gold on that piece. And up here, those are all orange and purple. I did not dump a shit ton of fucking gems on my wall General. Let me show you where I dumped the fucking gems. All right. I dumped the gems there. Here's where I dumped the gems. Those are gold, almost all of them. Those are gold, all of them. Okay? That is where I dumped the gems, in my attack power. Attack power. That's something you need for SVS 2. Okay? I dumped gems into those specialties. That's over 900,000 gems to get a General up like that. Okay? Now let's go to the other one. I dumped my gems into her. You know, all of the max specialties. Now watch this. Here's what that does. Now it says defeat, troops annihilated. Look, I lost 148.6 million power. I killed 815.2 million power worth of troops. This allows for an observation. My solo range attack buff is 1970, but yours is less than 1,000, so okay. Look at what happens. Now notice, any win that she has is in her ground and siege layers. So she didn't get zeroed, her siege didn't get hurt. But look what I took. T14 and T ranged and mounted. Took a lot of ground troops out. T13 ranged and mounted. Wiping them out. You know, points. I mean, just tearing shit up. That's where I spent the gems. So this way you get defense and attack too. That's an important thing to think about. So I'm strongly suggesting that you go with this higher tier defensive scheme that Deanna and I have, since you're already closer to getting it done. It'll cost you less in resources, and you'll get to do so much other shit in the game I've seen T1 accounts that didn't build high-tier mounted troops at all. They can't kill their Vikings. They can't kill monsters. They just come out for 2 hours a week, for 2 days a week during SVS. Now, it's nice. They get a lot of points, and we oftentimes win SVS because of them. But it's a double-edged sword. And I got a 6th place finish in SVS, and I was 300 million positive. Not the best PvP account, but one of the best all-around accounts on the server. So you have a shot at doing that. But if you decide to go with the T1 meat wall, then I will help you build it. I built one before, won SVS champion with monkey poop. Word's got a T1 meat wall. Beasley's built a decent one that's gotten her wings and places in SVS recently. So, and eventually I will put a T1 meat wall on this, but only after I've reached K40 with T15 troops. I want attack teeth, sharp, nasty attack teeth first, and then I'll refortify that defense. Right now, this one's getting me by. So there is the direction that if I were you and had what I've seen you have, especially since you're a K36 and you've already opened up military academy research, that's what I would do. Speed up cost is going to be a motherfucker. You'll see that I've still got 700 days left on that. So you're going to be spending more in speed ups than you will in resources. All right, I'm on to the next one. Happy hunting, Goose.